Hey everyone, welcome back to Elemental Cartomancy. Today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot. So just to say a few words before I start doing the walkthrough, this was a really kind gift from my friend Mendy at the Artistry of Tarot. Um, you'll remember maybe a few weeks ago now, I think it was, I did a walkthrough of my Jean Dodal that my friend Justin made for me, this deck. And when I did that, I mentioned just been going through, had quite a tough time lately, bereavement in the family and that kind of stuff. And one day I took delivery of this big box that I wasn't expecting, and it was a bunch of my friends in the tarot community had put together a box of treasures just to make me feel loved and stuff, and I really did, and I really appreciated it. So yeah, the Pagan Otherworlds. I'm struggling to get this back in now. The Pagan Otherworlds was part of that big box. So thank you, Mendy. Um, the box is beautiful. It's a tuck box. It's got a seal here, so I've actually been opening it from the bottom, so as not to kind of mess with that seal. Now, although it's a tuck box, this is a pretty luxurious tuck box. I'm not holding it very high, am I? Right, let me. It's all kind of a embossed feeling. The paper quality feels really nice, and you can see on the inside it's all kind of a gold and stuff. So it's a beautiful box. Let's shift to this kind of a view. We'll zoom in just a smidge. So the cards have got like this high quality playing card feel. It's kind of linen finish that they've got. The cardstock in the pig, in other words, is beautiful. Size wise, so bigger and broader than your kind of a standard US Games tarot size. And yeah, these are the backs which match the box. Colours aren't really showing up very well today. Let me see if I mess with this light. It's maybe a wee bit better. But yeah, the colours are just lovely. So there are extra cards in this deck, and they're at the end. Um, the deck doesn't come with a book. I feel as though I'm forgetting something. It's because there's no book to speak of. The deck doesn't come with a book, but as you'll see when we go through it, it's pretty kind of a. So I would describe this as a minimalist scenic. It's kind of a half pip, half scenic, but it works really well the way they've done it. So let's start going through. We've got the Fool. We have our Magician. We have you can see him with his as above, so below hand gestures. Our High Priestess. I really like that she's hooded and you can barely kind of see her eyes. I think that's quite cool when we see her with the book in her hand and the different symbols of the moon. See, she's also got one foot in the water here and one foot out. So the High Priestess is right at the veil or the gateway between the spiritual realm and the physical one. So I do like to see her, with her foot just dipped in, her toe dipped in the water. To me, that's really nice symbolism there. or Empress. It's holding the symbol of Venus in her hand. You get a real powerful feel from this Empress, the way she's kind of holding the wand here. The Emperor. So I think the wearing of the animal on the head and to the pagans was a symbol of stature, of power. Correct me if I'm wrong, that might not be quite right. Hierophant. Hierophantos is the keeper of the secrets, and we see the Hierophant standing before this kind of this gap in the stone wall or the mountains. So standing at a threshold, almost holding his hand up to say stop, isn't it? But you can see him like acting as a guide, guiding you through this kind of a next stage of the journey. The lovers. Very Adam and Eve. We've even got the snake here and the tree. And we've got the apple. Chariot. So instead of horses we have goats, but we still have black and white. Chariot does appear to be in motion, which is nice. Strength at number 8 in this deck. 9 or Hermit. Wheel of Fortune. So I love what we see down the bottom here. So the idea is, you've got I will rule, I have ruled, depending on what way we're moving. So we see the king at the top of the wheel. But there's a story about it, I think it's Arthur, King Arthur. Um, he had a vision, and it basically kind of awakened him to the fact that, no one has control over everything, no one can tell the future. Funny saying that when we're talking about tarot, but like no one knows what tomorrow holds. So it's about being appreciative for the things that you've got now, because any day your fortune could change. And I love the symbolism with the lion as the king. The Lion King. Justice. Hanged Man. I think it's really strange to see the Hanged Man with his head off to the side. I suppose if you were hanging upside down, you might do that to try and kind of like get your head as right way up as you can. I don't know. I've never hung upside down before, so I wouldn't know. Death looks pretty cool. Very Marseille style death. Can't make up my mind whether the pictures like is whether you've seen it a bit blurred or not. Temperance. Pretty standard temperance. The devil looks pretty cool. See all these faces. The tower. She's come pretty far, hasn't she? She must have been pushed off that tower with some force. The star. I always like when I see one being poured into the source, into the water, and one being poured into the dry land. Makes me think of, giving back, cutting down trees, plant new ones, that kind of a thing. The moon. The sun. Judgment. The world. Okay, so into the suits, the minors. Got the Ace of Wands. Two of Wands. So you can see what I mean. There are still scenes, but they're not as kind of a detailed as like your Smithwaite. You know, they're not that they're not as detailed. There just isn't as much going on. They're much more minimalist. Um, Three. You can see we still see the ships in the distance. Four. Still think we see the castle. Think of stability. Five. Just the arrangement of the wands, you know, the fact that they seem to be all over the place brings in this idea of instability, of conflict. The six, we have the victory wreath. The seven, going in a Marseille direction here, you know. You get the idea of all of these six wands being stacked against this other wand. But if you look at the wands, like this wand is a lot stronger than these, and it seems to be kind of a holding them at bay. So it's very much, you still get the idea of kind of a standing in your power and standing your ground, that kind of a thing. The eight, we still get the movement here. The nine, and the 10. Okay, we have our page of wands, who I've just noticed has his face covered, partially. The knight, riding a white stag. The white hart. The queen of wands, her sunflower. And the king. Look at that lion. He's got on a leash. Next is our swords. So we have our ace, our two of swords. So we're seeing the crossed swords. Three of swords, we get the Solabusca style. Three swords through the heart. It makes us think about, you know, how our heads and our hearts interact. You know, the mind and the emotions, cold hard facts. You know, we have to face them, and it can cause pain. Four, five. See the storm clouds up above here. Six. Interesting that one of the swords isn't in the boat. It's, you know, it appears to be going into the water, and the way that it's coming out, it's kind of a blocking. You know, there's going to be a blockage there. Seven, eight. So what I think is really nice about this, right, when we're looking at that, we're looking at that from a certain perspective, and it looks like the swords have been set up as a gate, you know, as a, not a gate, as a barrier to stop us getting through. But see, when you look at where the swords are planted, it's actually like, you know, some of the swords are further, you know, further in front of some of the other ones. So whilst from this point of view, from the point of view that we have at the moment, the perspective that we're taking on the issue at the moment, it looks as though we're blocked off, there's no way forward. In actual fact, you know, when you're looking at that perhaps from a bird's eye view, you might actually see that the swords are kind of arranged in a zigzag type fashion where you could just quite easily move between them. So I actually really like this card. I think this is really kind of a powerful. The Nine of Swords. Swans chained up. And the 10. So we get the idea of death, but we also see that's kind of a new growth as well. Page. The Knight. Riding the white horse. Queen. And the King of Swords. So onto the cups. Beautiful Ace of Cups. I love the white dove. 2. So we get these rock formations coming up to meet each other, which is nice. 3. Pumpkin, and there's just something about it that looks quite festive. It looks as though there's been a party. 4 of Cups. 5. 6. 7. The 8. The 9 of Cups. And the 10. Oops. I love this. The kind of a, it's not quite rainbow coloured. I see red, blue, yellow and green. But the ribbons coming off the wand here. Our Page of Cups. Our Knight. Interesting that we see the Knight of Cups on the dark horse. Usually the Knight of Cups is on the white horse. I say usually, on this myth it is anyway. Queen, surrounded by her element. She's got her cup covered, protected. Although we can see that she is uncovered, she's vulnerable. She's made herself physically vulnerable. But you can be physically vulnerable and still protect your emotions. The King of Cups. Let's take this top off. Take this top off for the lads. And the last suit is the Pentacles. So we have our Ace, which is pretty nice. 2 of Pentacles. You get the lemnis get around them. 3. 4. 5. So turn to this kind of a winter scene. 6. 7. So these new trees that have been planted, just kind of indicating that, you know, this is maybe an issue that we need to give it time. You know, we're not quite ready to to thrive. We're not quite ready to harvest what we've been working for yet. 8. 9. So we see the bird. You know, the bird's quite important symbolism to a lot of people. See the bird sitting on this kind of a plant thing here. And 10. Images of the dogs. But we do see the kind of the kingdom. We see the castle here in the background. So we still get this idea of kind of a stable material situation, a stable home, a roof over your head. You've got everything that you need, you know, food and water and stuff like that. A real kind of a sense of and feeling of safety in your life. Oops. Page. Or knight. Queen of Pentacles. And the king. So these are the extra cards. So we have an extra major arcanum. We have a seeker. So as well as the fool, the zero fool, we have an infinity seeker card. And then we have phases of the moon. So we have the full moon here. We have the, don't know the different terms to be honest with you. I don't know what you would call this. We have the half moon, crescent moon, and the new moon. Okay guys, so in terms of shuffling this deck, it's a really nice deck to shuffle because of the kind of a glidey playing cardy linen card stock. You are liable to kind of throw the cards everywhere is what I'll say. So it's one just to kind of take a bit of care with. It's really nice to riffle shuffle, but like I say, like when you're bridging it, see of course I do it there and it's fine, but a couple of times I was sending cards kind of flying at myself, and it was actually twice I did it with the Ten of Swords. um, so yeah, an overhand, it is a bit bigger than your standard kind of a Smith weight size, but I suppose it just depends on how big your hands are, how easy you find it to overhand shuffle. I suppose you could always do it kind of the long way, like that. So I was thinking what we could do is I'm filming this on Saturday the 30th of October. Tomorrow obviously being Samhain or All Hallows Eve, Halloween, when the veil, you know, between our world and the spirit world is at its thinnest. So let's pull some cards for a wee message for us from the other side. So we're going to ask, what do they want us to know? What do they want to tell us about? And then what's the advice in terms of what we should do? And what's the advice in terms of what we shouldn't do? So this was a spread that was made up by Zoe Matoff, and I'm just kind of using it to get a message from the other side. So let's see. Okay, so what kind of situation did they want to talk to us about? Look at the Page of Swords, so definitely looking at learning something new. You can zoom this in a wee bit, don't need to be quite so zoomed out. So in our endeavours to learn something new, it's all about the kind of a gaining of information and how we gain it and what we do with it when we have it. Trouble with the Page of Swords is it can sometimes be a wee bit kind of overly enthusiastic, sometimes a wee bit immature. So in terms of the swords suit, Page can be a wee bit of a gossip, or it can get one kind of a small bit of the story and then think he knows it all. So it's an exciting time to be learning new things, to be learning new information. But I think we just need to bear in mind, try and be sensible about how we're using the information. What should we do? Queen of Pentacles. So we might be learning things about other people. You know, we might be kind of finding out different pieces of information. We might be learning stuff in order to kind of pass it down. And the reason that I'm saying all that is because for me, the Queen of Pentacles is about acting as a teacher. And this is very much a kind of a pass on what you've learned type message. Queen of Pentacles creates that safe space for all of the people around about them. Okay, maybe it's a safe space to learn, to make people feel welcome and feel that they can join in and that they belong. But that's the kind of the beauty of the Queen of Pentacles. She really makes you feel like you belong there, that you're safe. Um, so this might be a teaching situation that this wants to talk about because we're learning new information and we have to pass on what we've learned in a way that makes the learner feel wanted, feel safe, feel secure. What not to do? The Fool. So don't go off in a completely different direction. Don't be completely unthinking with the information that we receive. We are going to have to kind of use our experience and use our kind of a previous wisdom and knowledge in order to negotiate this situation. Um, there is a new direction for us with the page, there is that kind of a novelty, but this isn't our first time at the rodeo, you know what I mean? That like we do have to pretend that we know nothing, to be completely kind of a blank minded about the situation would be folly, I think. So it's very much about, constantly like, remember that you are experienced, remember that you do know a lot of stuff. You might be going into something particular that's, there might be something new about the situation you're going into, but all of the lessons that you've learned, all of those transferable skills are important, and we're going to kind of take them forward. So there we go, that's our message from Spirit, and that lets you kind of just get a wee sample spread of these cards. So thank you very much everyone for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this. Take care and I will hopefully see you on the next video. Bye bye.